The rate of attrition in the city car segment of the new car market has been devastating. Gone are the Ford Ka Plus, VW Up, Seat Me, Skoda Citigo, Peugeot 108, Citroen C1, Suzuki Celerio, and even the smart car has grown into a small SUV. Of the models that do remain, there's the forthcoming Dacia Spring EV electric city car, and petrol-powered options include the Toyota Aygo X, the Hyundai i10, and this car, the Kia Picanto, which has just been given a midlife refresh. So, what's new? For a start, the Picanto features an exterior makeover inspired by the new flagship EV9 electric SUV. That means a squared off and somewhat tough front end design with vertical headlights and even a light bar that stretches across the grille. At the back there's another light bar. Go for a GT Line or GT Line S trim, and the standard front and rear bumpers are swapped for sportier looking items, complete with fake diffuser. Styling wise, I think the Picanto hangs together pretty nicely actually. It's not a cutesy city car like a Fiat 500, but it's more like, I don't know, an angry puppy or something. Now all models are 5-door and all get a 255 litre boot, which is, I mean, it's small by most car standards, but actually for a city car, it's not too bad. You can of course fold the rear seat backs to create more boot space. They fold 60-40. And with the seat backs in place, it's not bad for a city car. Again, it's reasonably roomy. I'm 5'11" and I can fit in the back sitting behind myself. There's also 3 seat belts, so you can get 3 in the back if needed. On the inside, all models come with an 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's familiar from other Kia models, it has pretty good graphics and it responds quickly. There's also a 4.2-inch trip computer display in between the dials, which take a digital format but are not configurable. There's no bargain basement trim offered on the Picanto, with all models coming with an artificial leather covering for the steering wheel, air conditioning, rear parking sensors and a reversing camera. The entry level 2 model has 14-inch alloy wheels and cloth seats, but everything above that gets 16-inch alloys and artificial leather on the seats, as well as an upgrade to LED headlights. Where this generation of Picanto and indeed the Hyundai i10 have always stood out is in just how mature they feel for a city car, and some of that's about equipment, things like having an infotainment system with Apple CarPlay, or on higher spec models having heated seats and even a heated steering wheel, definitely give it that sense of maturity. But it's also about how the car drives. Now, this is a very small car. It's only 3.6 metres long and 1.6 metres wide, and it has very short overhangs and it has big windows, so visibility is really good. So it's a very easy car to park. Driving around town, it's really ideal. The only thing you'll need to get used to is that the clutch pedal is very light. All the controls in the Picanto are light, but the clutch pedal is light, but it has quite a sharp biting point, so that definitely takes a little bit of getting used to. But once you're used to it, driving around in city environments, in towns, this thing's just brilliant. Mind you, you'd expect a city car to be good in the city, wouldn't you? Where the Picanto really impresses is that it's also perfectly capable on faster roads. The Picanto's long distance comfort is helped by a couple of things. First one is, okay, it's not whisper quiet in here, but it's not that noisy. Road noise and wind noise are pretty well contained. And the other one is the suspension, which is just quite sensibly set up. So it's got enough firmness in the damping that it doesn't sort of lean over hopelessly in corners or wallow around over bumps. It's fairly well controlled. But it's also got enough give that it doesn't sort of thump around or hop you around everywhere. It's just, yeah, it's pretty good. The steering, as we said, it's light, but it's direct. And overall, you know, this car is, you know, it's not going to trouble a Volkswagen up GTI through the corners. It's not that kind of car, but it's perfectly agreeable. When it comes to powertrains, Picanto buyers have a choice of 2 engines, a 1 litre with 62 brake horsepower or 1.2 litre with 77 brake horsepower. Note that you'll need a top-spec GT Line S model to get the 1.2, which also comes with sportier styling and a sunroof. Both of the petrol engines are naturally aspirated, or put another way, they're not turbocharged, and that means you don't sort of get this strong low to mid-range pull in them. Instead, they just pull in quite a linear way. So to give you an idea, this is the 1 litre, 4th gear, 30 miles an hour. If you put your foot down, not a lot happens. 34 miles an hour in the time it took to do that. So you might find yourself knocking it down 3rd, maybe even 2nd, and then you do get a bit more acceleration. It's fine, to be honest. In terms of acceleration times, the 1 litre will do 0 to 62 in 0.4 seconds, so definitely not fast, and the 1.2 will do the same sprint in 13.1 seconds, so, well, also not fast. The gearbox in both is a 5-speed manual. As we say, the clutch is quite sharp, but the gear shift itself is pretty direct, pretty positive, so that's easy to use. And you can also, if you want, have an automatic gearbox. It's actually an automated manual, but be warned that that one adds another 3 seconds to the 0 to 62 acceleration time, so it's definitely not the Picanto you want if you want to be going quickly. All models are, however, very frugal, with official WLTP fuel economy figures of more than 50 miles per gallon. Expect easily upwards of 40 miles per gallon in normal driving. Overall, this is a really good little car, this Picanto. And I think this 1 litre version is probably going to be absolutely fine for most people. Only if you're doing a lot of motorway miles would I really recommend considering the 1.2 instead, just for that bit of extra oomph. And while the facelift version isn't drastically different from the model it replaces, the new styling does make it look a bit fresher. Now, prices for the Picanto start at around £15,600, which places this car into the top 10 cheapest new cars on sale in the UK today. The range tops out meanwhile at around £19,000. And so if you're in the market for a city car and you don't want an electric car, because if you want an electric one you should get the Dacia Spring, then we really do think the Picanto is worth considering. Now, is it better than a Hyundai i10? Now, that's a very close one. I think the Hyundai has perhaps a slightly nicer interior, the Kia has a longer warranty. But either way, by city car standards, you're getting a cracking little motor. Remember too that you can find a huge number of used Kia Picantos over at CarGurus.co.uk, as well as full reviews of this model and its key competitors. Please also remember to subscribe to the channel and let us know what you think about the Picanto in the comments.